Hi there, it's Charly Caldwell here, founder of the Life and Business Success Group, and this is the second show of me reading my book, or my chapter in the book, I'm Having It. And it's a book that me and like 15 other authors created each a chapter for. It was headed by a great friend of mine, Erica Glessing, and she's really known for getting great books out around energy and happiness. So I'm Having It reviews the one pivotal shift that each of the authors had in regard to a shift that they made that went from struggling in life to getting some clarity and really propelling success. But before I do that, I'm shooting this video live in the Aria Sky Suites, which is all part of what I talk about in my chapter, is living a life of experience, not stuff. So let's take a look around here. Today it's really beautiful out, and we're looking out, we're on the 51st floor. So this is what we're seeing as we look out over Las Vegas. This is the mountainside of Aria. And if you look down here, you can see one of my favorite places. This is where I have Think Week every year, usually around my birthday in August. But down there's a hot tub. I don't know if you can see it. There's actually 3 of them. Those are actually the 3 pools. But the hot tub down there is where I do my initial sort of meditation for Think Week. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed your tour. I'd like to go through and read the next part of I'm Having It to you. Sitting right here, cozy, up on the 51st floor of the Aria Sky Suites in beautiful Las Vegas. And as we talked about at the end of the last show, we asked the 2 questions in the book in the first part of my chapter there, and it was, the first thing, am I connecting my goals in life to my life purpose? Or am I just kind of going through life directionless? What does that look like for you? Second part, I talked about how my beliefs are everything. And what some of my beliefs are is creating and building and maintaining the best relationships. Also, going through and assuring that I'm very aware and helpful for understanding where people are at and where they want to be in all the areas that I serve. And if you just simmer those up, they come up to life, business, and internet. 25 years in the business and internet world and having a lot of success there, I have just a lot of things that I've been able to share, just little distinctions. Some of them are in the book that really help people. You know what? It's a new perspective. It's a new way of thinking. So let's go through and keep on going here. We'll read a little bit more today, and maybe at the end I'll share with you how to get this experience that I have with Aria Sky Suites. And these nights are actually comped, meaning that I don't have to pay for them. They've also comped me some food credit to the tune of like $400. They've given me some money to gamble with. And you may think, you know what, Charlie, you're a big player and you're doing all this. It's not really that. There's just a system, and you have to learn it. And it's just being the best with whatever you apply yourself into. That's how I got aware of the system. And that's part of what this book's about. So let's go ahead and continue reading. So sure enough, on July 25th, 2012, or Christmas in July, as I've been known to call it, for the first time since 1992, my weight dipped below 200 pounds. More importantly though, everything else, including my energy, my outlook, my focus, felt aligned for longer than it ever had before. I looked down at my scale in tears saying, I promise I'll do everything in my power never to see that go above 200 again. I owe it to my girls, my wife, my family, my friends, and those we serve. And of course, myself. Since that day, my weight has stayed below 200 pounds. That's over 3 years ago. Isn't that amazing when you think through it? So what happens when you just shift into knowing, stepping up, and living bigger? Or, as we talk about the premise of this book, having it all. A month after our business was acquired, this was in November of 2000, my wife and I bought a Class A motorhome, the big bus type, and hit the road exploring the eastern U.S. for almost a year. At the time, I had 3 major goals. The first, work on building a good, solid relationship with my wife. You can tell from everything that I talked about earlier that got destroyed, especially in 98 and 99 and early part of 2000 as reaction and work took over. Second, work on me, thinking through what I could have done better and what I could do moving forward to truly step into being my best self, even under life's most powerful and seemingly derailing circumstances. And third, decompress from the years of working nonstop and truly explore the world. Little did I know at the time, but that was when my true 12-year journey began. It wasn't until 12 years later, in 2012, when I had finally figured out how to have it all for myself, my family, and those I care about. And even better, I'm able to serve so many others too. It turns out there are 4 foundational elements that I had to concentrate on and keep perspective with to create and maintain the sensation of having it all. So here we go with my framework. The first, how to have it all, Charlie's 4-step framework. The first step of my framework is understanding what a habit is. and consciously, continually, and thoroughly working to build and maintain the best habits possible. When I started down this path, I had to understand the power of habits and how to open-mindedly create new ones and enhance the ones I had. The best definition of a habit I've been able to find comes from this wonderful book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. According to Charles, there are 3 parts to a habit. The first is the cue or trigger. Sometimes it's completely automatic. You got to be very careful to look out for these. Second is the routine. Third is the reward. The easiest ways I found to step into my best self is by recognizing my triggers. And as I mentioned, warning, some are so automatic they're hard to find. And then for each trigger, ask these 2 questions. Does the routine I implement truly represent the best me? Does the reward received benefit only me? Or can I have it benefit others as well? It's become my personal goal to enhance or build a new habit with these things in mind each day. As a simple yet great example of this, my habit of making my morning coffee, the trigger in this case is making coffee, and I went through and I applied this concept to it. So I used to use the very common K-cups to make coffee for myself. Once I applied these 2 questions, I decided that if I were being my best self, both from the routine and reward perspectives, I'd make the following changes, and I have. I would find the best organic beans that I could, and I'd grind them on demand. I would stop using the K-cups for 3 reasons. The cost, the potential damage to the environment, think of the millions of K-cups being thrown out each year, and my health, organic versus non-organic, as well as something called plastic leaching. I would stay away from anything artificial, flavorings, etc. I would not only make coffee for myself, but I would make it for my wife and whoever else was around who might enjoy a morning cup too. I would present the coffee to others with a smile, filled with presence, care, and compassion. Before I made these changes, I would have never believed the simple steps of mastery around the habit of making coffee and how it could vibrantly enhance my mornings as well as those around me and activate one of the human drives that makes you feel alive, the drive of contribution. So what's one simple habit that you could master that would benefit you and those you love? You know, when I looked back over time, I looked at how I used to be a night owl. And in the book, The Power of Habit, he talks about keystone habit. What's one habit that if you change, it unleashes a bunch of other habits in a better way? Meaning that the routine of one habit and the reward of one habit can affect change across the board for many others. And in my 10-day health, wealth, and happiness challenge that I talk about on day 1, once I mastered the habit of getting good sleep, I became an entirely different person. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the book. But I really want you to think about what's the one simple habit you could master. And maybe this week will be your goal, starting today, right after you watch this video. It's the one habit you're going to try to shift towards the better with the example of what I used. When that cue or trigger shows up, the routine that you go into, how can I make that better? And then the reward, how can it benefit more than just me? Like I said, sleep was everything to me. Once I dialed that in the beginning of 2012, that shifted huge. We'll talk about that as we move on. So that's the end of what I want to read for you today. And I wanted to talk just a little bit about what it means to get comped and have free rooms at Aria Sky Suites and stuff like that. It all comes back to me understanding their system and me really working with what they call their M-Life Players Club card. And the bottom line is if you go and you gamble at all, and I don't recommend gambling, I'm not like endorsing it or anything like that. It's up to you. If you can afford to play money, realizing it could go away, go ahead and do that. But the reality of it is if you're going to play at most casinos today, they have some form of compensation system, like a reward system. They call it M-Life here in Aria. And it applies to many of the casinos here on the Strip. Aria, let's see, they have Bellagio, they have Mandalay Bay, MGM. It's all part of the M-Life experience, even New York, Luxor, Excalibur. So if you play on their machines, you put this card in. Every time you put the card in, you get certain points for it. When you gather enough points, they start to send you rewards. Sometimes it's a 3-night comped package where you stay for the rooms for free. They cover everything, including the fees, you know, those resort fees. Sometimes they'll put in tickets for you for the shows and stuff like that. So the first step that I just wanted to make you aware of is that it took me a little while to figure that out. Once I did, I was like, okay, what's the best games to play that give us the most credit? And it was non-progressive video slots, I determined. So if you want to learn more about that, I don't want to get too technical on you. That's an amazing way to do this. Again, you have to work within your means and do all that kind of thinking, and do I really want to get into that? Some people, if they have addictive personalities, that gets to be a habit. So with all that being said, I just want to end on this. What is it, the one simple shift that you could make to just increase your quality of life when you think through the routine that you put into play and the reward that's experienced from it? What could that be? So I hope you enjoyed this reading here from the Artist Guy Suites. Hope you enjoyed my little tip about M-Life and getting comps. And I can't wait to see you on our next session. We're going to talk about the next piece of the framework. Take care. Have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.